Welcome back to Things They Won't Say with Cy and Linus. I'm your host, Linus.
And I'm Cy.
And this is episode 3, and today we're going to be talking about things that we find good about religion, like our opinions on it. So we're going to touch upon a few different religions. We're going to start with Christianity, I think, because it's pretty much the most common, especially in our area. Just to kind of build a basis around what we're talking about.
And we feel a little bad for last episode as we felt like we were kind of shitting.
Yeah, we didn't want anyone to think that we're just like shitting on your religion. It's just our personal experiences in life with religion. We're a little sour, I think. We're
sour pusses. We're a little sour.
Yeah, I mean, a little salty. But no, it's like some good things that we find about religion. I mean, if we like start way back, I mean, with the basis of like what religion is, I think one of the most important things about religion is the fact that it's like created the first set of unity. Like, we're talking like 6000 BC, you're living in like some river valley civilization or whatever, and you're all just kind of like, ooh, these people are, we can't really communicate that well necessarily. And then there's this one guy who's like, hey, but what about this God? And so like it created like the first set of like communities in a lot of ways where it was like the way to build order and kind of build like an idea of how people should act. So, like, religion did give a lot of unity and, like, structure to society right at the start.
And that even continued well into, like, the 15th century even, right? Where, like, you know, you're just a peasant kind of chilling. You've never met your king or your nobles. You have no connection to, like, your higher-ups, right?
Yeah, people just rule over you, and you don't even know who's making the laws, basically.
And so the only thing that you have in common with these people are your language and your religion, which is why a lot of, like, especially in medieval Europe, where, like, you would be, like, I like, what's the word? Persecuted. That's the word. Persecuted. You'd be persecuted if you were, like, Muslim or something, right? Like, exactly. I mean,
yeah, like, it just built a good idea of, like, unity and, like I was saying, and the idea of, like, this is kind of what binds us all together. And, you know, I mean, especially, like, the church played a big part, especially in medieval Europe. Like, Catholic Church was... I mean, they had, you know, their ups and downs, obviously, but they did a lot of good things for the people who were, like, on the lower levels of society.
I mean, especially during the, like, Dark Ages, or whatever you want to call them, the Catholic Church was, like, the only people giving out education.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you look at, like, the trend of, like, especially, like, education, especially, like, the Jesuits were a big deal in history with their missions and creating schools around the world. Like, granted, you know, they were kind of there to, like, teach religion and kind of push that onto some people. They never were too forceful with it. Like, if you look at it all in most scenarios, and they taught people and they educated them and they, like, allowed them to learn multiple languages and understand the cultures of different parts of the world that they would never even begin to fathom because back then, I mean, you didn't travel the world on a plane. It was like, are you going to take a 3-year sea voyage to see a few different countries, or...
And probably die on the way there?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
get scurvy or something.
Another thing is, like, speaking of that, the church was, like, a huge part of, like, the health system. I mean, you talk about taking care of the sick, it was, like, you know, religious, like, it was pious people who would help out. They would give back to their community in some way, so it was taking care of the sick.
They'd light a couple incenses and be like, you were healed now.
Okay, well, not necessarily that. But, like, I mean, they'd nurse them and try to feed them and, like, bring them back to health somewhat. And, like, no one else even attempted.
Well, that's all they could do.
Like, we didn't have huge advances or anything, but they really did try to, like, make that effort.
They were the only people who could, because it was like your lords didn't care.
Yeah.
If you're a peasant...
And you're sick, you're a liability.
You're a liability. And if you're sick, you're an economic burden on the house because they still have to feed you. So just call out your local priest and we'll give you some incense and call it a day or something.
And I mean, going back to the government thing and, like, the idea of, like, the unity and building, the modern U.S. government is based on a lot of Christian ideals.
Oh, like, pretty much
everything.
Like, no, like, not even the United States government, like, almost every government.
Like, most forms of democracy.
Yeah, like, almost every form of democracy. A lot of
in the modern day.
Yeah, like, a lot of the morals, too, that, like, we commonly share. Like, you know, murder is probably bad. Yeah, murder is probably not good.
You know, don't kill people. Don't rape people. Don't cheat on your significant other. Don't...
I mean, that's not illegal.
Well, it's not illegal, but, you know, it gets people in trouble still.
Got Bush in trouble.
Oh, right.
What?
I mean, you're not wrong. But no, like, it does a lot of good things for people, and all sorts of different religions can do that. I mean, you look at some of the greatest technological advances in history, and you look at, like, the Islamic caliphates. They created, like, they preserved, like, the old ideas of, like, Greek and Roman ideas, and created, like, some of the systems we use today, especially, like, numbers. Like,
a lot of the, what was it? I saw kind of, like, a little post on Instagram, or, like, Twitter or whatever, where it was some guy who was like, they're teaching Islamic numerals, and I mean, this guy was fucking with people. It's like, they're teaching Islamic numerals in our like, school system, and a bunch of, like, conservatives were like, oh, that's bullshit, you know, they can't do that. And then it's our numbers.
1, 2, 3,
yeah,
4,
5,
1, 2,
6,
7, 8, 9, 10.
Those are Islamic numerals. So
yeah, because I mean, otherwise we would have been using, like, the Chinese counting systems with, like, all the little like,
what
is that called?
I don't know. I know what you're talking about. Though my dad has one. It's like the little wooden thing with, like, you know, like,
I
the
can't
little
think of what
lines
it's
in
called
it.
now. And I'm mad.
Don't they have, like, little colored, like?
They have different colored beads, and you slide them over.
Slide them. I know what you're talking about.
The original calculator.
Yeah, that's the OG calculator.
But no, I mean,
worked really well.
Like, religion built a lot of, like, philosophical ideas. I mean, you look at things like, I mean, there's, like, things that are also similar between, like, philosophy and religion. Like, you look at things like Confucianism. Like, it was a more spiritual way of just looking at things with, like, understanding about the world. And you don't necessarily call it a religion, but it falls under that same, like, ideology.
A lot of religions, with air quotes, don't have, like, a god. They're just moral systems.
Yeah, like, when you boil it down, that's what you can find.
It's just, you follow a god, not a god, you follow a guy.
Guideline.
Yeah, a guideline, and you become moral.
Yeah.
And then that's your religion.
It's kind of what's built, like, the idea of good and bad in the world. I mean, if you don't have, like, I don't necessarily think that without a backing of religion, the brain would have ever understood what good and bad really is. Like, I mean, you'd think it would, but religion's been around so long, I feel like it's definitely influenced our idea of, like, determining good and bad.
Well, I mean, if you look at before, like, Christianity, for example, right? Spartans would throw their kids off of mountains, right? If you were, like, unworthy or unfit. Yeah, if you're unfit. So, I mean, you know, that's it. And if they wanted to, I don't know if this was Sparta as well, but they could just kill their daughters.
There was almost, like, you know, you could bury your child if it was a daughter, like, in, like,
or something like
1000 BC. Like, there's all sorts of crazy things that you hear about.
I mean, but they still had, like, laws, though, which is, like, crazy.
But, like, the religious guidelines that were built by, like, some of those original monotheistic religions, I mean, it's crazy the impact that it has today. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing because without it, government systems wouldn't be where they are, education wouldn't be where it is, health wouldn't. I think
every single Western government, like, today, has a root in religious, like, ground.
Ideology.
Yeah, religious ideology or ground.
You know, another thing, speaking of, like, the world being where it is today because religion motivated a lot of exploration.
Oh yeah, with
like
Columbus,
you know, it was for God. It was for his country, for
three
God.
G's. Yeah, for gold, God, and glory.
Yeah, that's
3
what it
Gs.
was. And I mean, like, even the idea of manifest destiny. Like, well, granted, the things that the settlers did, the Indians weren't necessarily
these examples you're giving aren't exactly the best.
Okay, they're not. But, like, without the, like...
Well, you're just... I know...
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's not like... You're not like... It was good. You're just saying they were reasons for it, which affected our...
Which affects where we are today.
Exactly.
We would not have completely settled America as quickly if it weren't for religious motivation.
Yeah, so, like, if religion wasn't existent, then Columbus may have not... There may not have been as much of a reason for Columbus to come, therefore he may not have been funded by the King of Spain.
I mean, what else? It's crazy, like, all the good things that religion does. I mean, it gives people, like, a self-understanding.
Of the universe, yeah.
Because, like, if you want to look at it very pessimistically, like, we're all going to die.
That's true.
That took a turn, but...
I think, I don't know, at the same time, though, you can still have a good understanding of where you are in the universe and not be religious.
Character day.
Yeah, character day at our school.
We did this thing at our school where we took this quiz online, and it gave us 24 character traits ranked from our most prevalent to our least prevalent. And since I don't necessarily prescribe to an organized religion, when I was answering the questions that put spirituality as my last trait.
Spirituality was basically how Christian are you. It really was.
It was. It felt that way a little bit.
So that's just my thing.
But no, like, it does give a lot of people an understanding of, like, where they are in the universe. And, like, it makes the infinitesimal vastness of everything seem very manageable, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you're very focused on, like, okay, I'm a good person here, I'll move on, my spirit will live on in some place great because of the efforts I put in here, you have more purpose. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I think as you know, secular person, have a fairly okay understanding already for where I'm at in life. But it does help many people.
Yeah, exactly. I think, like, I know, like, just anecdotally, a lot of people who have, like, gone through grief or times of strife, and they've turned to their religion, not just, you know, whereas, like, if they didn't have that, they might have been, like, really, really depressed and never came out of it, which is kind of why, like, another thing that religion does really well is it kind of gives you a sense of community, right? If you ask any religious person without fail, they will tell you that, like, they are known or, like, involved within their church community.
Oh, for sure. No matter what religion.
No matter what religion, it doesn't matter.
You have friends. You make friends. You make connections. You make bonds. You, like, build a grouping of people around you that you trust and you care about, and it creates this extra, like, layer, this extra, like, bubble of people that are, like, close to
your friends, yeah,
you know,
or whatever.
Because, I mean, like I said in the last podcast, when I was growing up with my grandma and everything, she knew everyone at that church that we went to, though. Like, everyone. Like, I think was his name Tom, was, like, the pastor. Super good guy. They'd hang out every now and again. Like, if there was something rough going on, they would help each other out.
Yeah.
You know, it's how things were. It's how things are. I mean, even people at our school, like, a lot of people are really close with some of their friends because of, like, church groups and youth groups and everything. And not to bash on the modern youth group, like, at all. Like, it's a good thing for those people, you know?
Yeah. I mean, youth groups are... They do definitely, like, help you kind of, like, get involved with that. It's nice. It's good.
It's another way to reach out. I mean, like, especially... Another good thing about religion is, like, I'm personally fascinated with it in general. Like, I want to get a degree in religious studies as, like, a minor when I go to college. I want to be able to, like, teach a course on it, similar to at our school that we have the option to take. And comparative religions really, like, open my eyes to a lot of things. Like, you look at a lot of different, like, religions and the things that they teach. Zoroastrianism, love it. Love everything about that religion, minus the fact that I can't convert. But, I mean, it's a, like, 2,000-year-old, like, agreement, and they still stick with it, and, like, that's good for them. You know, mad respect. But it's, like,
very noble.
Good thoughts, good words, good deeds is the main teaching of that whole entire religion. Like, when you boil it down to, like, their motto, it's just, the whole point is to be a good person. Because if you do something bad, it fuels...
Well, that's the point of, like...
the devil character in that, but if you do something good, like, there's a way to interpret in that religion that the battle between their God and their, like, devil equivalent of Christianity is actually going on as a cosmic battle in space. Like, they're actually fighting. Like, it's just like, you know, like my teacher said, he's like, you know, you save a cat from a tree or something, boom, a Mazda throws an uppercut. Like, it's like this
That's
cool
badass.
way. It's this cool way of looking at things. You can look at it as very, like, realistic with that sense and, like, out of proportion, or you can look at it more, like, spiritually and just toned down. But there's no right way. There's no, like, your way is better than mine. Like, look at that in that religion. So, like, it boils down to, like, be a good person and the world will be a better place.
Well, I think, like, that motto is, like, for 99% of all religions out there.
Yeah.
Like, Christianity is do unto others, do unto others as they would do unto you. Or something like that.
As you would want done unto yourself. Or,
yeah, the golden rule.
The golden rule.
Yeah, whatever they tell you in, like, 4th grade or whatever. Like, whatever.
And, I mean, there's some that even take it further, like Jainism. Like, I could never, but, like, there's a point, like, with Jainism where, like, the final step is to just starve yourself to death to become enlightened.
Oh, boy.
Like, there's a part where you will not wear any clothes, you will have a, like, feather-made broom from feathers that have fallen off the animal because you would never want to hurt, like, the bird because it's such a pacifistic religion, and you just walk around and you sweep in front of you so you don't step on a bug and kill it. You sweep them out of your path to make sure you kill nothing. Like, the religion is one of the most peaceful things to ever exist. It's extremely, like, serious though, and I like the devotion that some people have to their religion. Unfathomable. That's the only word that I can think of to describe it.
Yeah. I think also additionally, like a lot of religion is inherently good.
That's a good point.
I think that like if you boil it down to it and you look at kind of like the modern day, like what do you call them? Like not preaches, but like goals or whatever you want to call them.
Like,
you know what
tenets?
Tenets, there you go.
There we go.
Thank you.
I'm trying to think of what word you're looking
tenets.
for.
If you look at like a lot of the modern day tenets, a lot of them are just like, be a good person. Don't do wrong. Like, don't sin.
And like the people who do wrong, it's such a like minute amount of like followers of a religion, to where you can never fully stereotype religion based on those small number of people who do
like
wrong.
The extremists.
Like extremists ruin the image because it's like, especially with media coverage, that's all that's going to get covered. If there's someone who murdered someone in the name of their god or whatever, it's going to get covered. No matter what religion you are, no matter what it is, it's going to get covered, it's going to get announced, and it's going to like put a dark spot on it.
And it's going to suck.
It's going to suck because people get a bad rep for it. And that is really annoying because there's so many people who spend their whole life doing good in the name of their religion, and then one person does something wrong, and everyone bashes those people because of religion. Like, I mean, 9/11 happened, you know, and it was extremist, and then the amount of crap that people got, and that people still get today. Like, I have a few friends who are Muslim in like in my classes, and they talk about how they still get like bullied about it. Not necessarily in our school, which, God, I hope that doesn't happen at our school, because that would really, you know, make me angry.
Yeah,
like,
that would suck.
I think we're a pretty good place, you know, accepting of people.
We're pretty progressive.
We're
pretty progressive.
I don't know about that, but we're a kind space. Let's put it that way. We're a good area to be in. But the fact that that still happens, like, these people do so much for the world in the name of their religion, and then one person can ruin it.
And they just get crapped on. I mean, that's not even religion. That's just like most things, right?
Sure, like if you're part of just any group. What are you laughing about?
I'm gonna say this, and it's
kind of
ironic. No, this is kind of ironic, but gamers.
Oh God,
that's funny.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean, though?
I know what you're saying.
You know, I mean, like, I hate to say that, and this is completely ironic, but like you know how, and it's almost kind of can become kind of like a meme where it's like gamers rise up, right?
Okay. Well, they meme everything.
Well, exactly.
We meme everything.
It's a meme. It's a joke. Right?
They found a way to like make it a joke.
And it's like here's another great example of something like that. Vegans.
Yeah, like they do great things. It's just like there's those few people who are
so
like,
obnoxious.
I'm vegan. Like there's those few people who are super obnoxious about it.
There
and
was
ruin it.
a post on Reddit I read the other day
oh, Lord.
where it was a post about something like it was like me eating meat in front of my vegan friend or something. It was something stupid like that. One of the comments was, "Stop eating meat." Someone commented, like, replied to that, said no. And then the person who originally posted it replied back, "Why?" The guy responded with, "I like eating meat." And then the person who posted it originally replied back, if you were raping a child, would you stop raping it? And then the guy replied back, "This is why everyone hates vegans."
Why did they try to use that as their justification?
I don't know. It's
internet's a weird place. Let's be real.
It is. Oh, it's bizarre.
But no, like some people will use the weirdest analogies to try to get their point across. And
like
it just
me
is
using
not...
gamers.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, there you go. You're weird. It's okay.
I'm very weird.
But no, there's like a lot of things about religion that I find like I talked about in the last episode. That like experience that I had at the Orthodox Church, beautiful, loved it, loved every minute of it. It like seeing those people find solace in such like a space built for them. This one lady, like, they light candles that start and like stick into this like sandbox like I was talking about. I think I mentioned that, and it was like her lighting a prayer for like one of her friends who was sick, and like it was so wholesome. Like I started crying. Like it's the things that it does for people, and like it's nice. It's just really pure sometimes, and it just makes me happy.
I think like additionally a lot of times religion, especially especially like a lot of people in our area at least, they have like the projects where they go into another country.
Oh yeah, mission trips.
Mission trips, that's the word. Where they go into another country
and they like build a well,
or
build homes.
Yeah, build a school,
build homes, whatever
hospital,
they're doing.
whatever it is.
They help out in communities that are less fortunate, out of like the goodness of their hearts.
I think, and then on top of that, I'm not going to get the statistic right at all, but I think like churches are one of the most charitable like groups out there.
That like. I'd agree.
Right,
with that.
where they take like their tithe or whatever you want to call it, like the money they donate from the church, they take a lot of that and donate it to various charities.
I think they actually do really good things with like what they do.
Yeah, and it's kind of stuff like that. And then they also like a lot of churches, they have like volunteer days where everyone in the church.
You work at a soup kitchen, or
you work at a soup kitchen. You go to an animal shelter.
I mean, we've even done this just like my family, but. People like churches especially will put together like goodie bags for homeless people downtown.
Oh yeah,
we did that around Christmas just like to help out. Like it's a thing that people do. Like it'll be like a toothbrush, a blanket, some new pair of socks, some floss, and some toothpaste.
Remember one of the things my church did when I still went there was you would get like a Christmas meal for someone. You'd get them like
you'd make them a Christmas dinner.
You'd miss them a Christmas
or like a Thanksgiving dinner. Even that.
Yeah, you'd get them like a turkey, some ham, like a cake.
You'd buy them like cranberry sauce and some mashed potatoes.
Yeah, like a traditional Christmas.
And you'd give it to them, and that way they could like have a really nice meal.
Oh yeah, and I mean like some of the shit there, I was like, damn, I don't even eat this good.
Yeah, like
they go all out.
You do, and it's really awesome because like, I mean. My dad's done it through his work before, where like like adoptive families, churches are really good about that. They give presents out like at Christmas for people. So you'll buy like a kid. They'll give you like a wish list, and you'll buy a kid a new pair of clothes, and you'll get them like a game console or something. Like we gave one family a Wii and a TV.
That's awesome.
And like the kids started crying, and, like hugged my dad.
Aww.
And I was like. And, like, that's a thing that churches do as well, though. Like, they give so much to the community.
It's not even... And a lot of it isn't even, like, need-based. A lot of it is, like...
It's just, like, we want to put you in a better position.
Yeah, they want to, like...
We want everyone to benefit from what we're doing.
You're not surviving, you're living.
Exactly.
Right.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
They want people to live, not survive.
Exactly. All right, that's all I got. That's all I could think of. Unless you got something else.
I'm eating.
Well, my bad. I didn't see that. It's another thing religion has is they let us eat.
Okay, give me a moment. So, here's another thing. Pulling philosophies from religions is something that I do myself, and I know other people who do it.
What do you mean? Like pulling it? Like give me an example.
So, I don't prescribe to a religion.
Okay.
But often when people ask me what I am, just so I can give a label to make them feel more comfortable other than just agnostic, because that confuses some people, I double it up and I say agnostic Taoist.
I didn't know what agnostic meant until like a month ago.
Like I think I told you.
I think you might have. Because like on like all those college applications or whatever, where it's like, what religion are you? And it gives like a list of like 1,000 religions.
And you're just like,
It's like Christian. Like
Southern Baptist,
Southern
Lutheran, Methodist,
like
United Methodist,
like literally a million.
Catholic, Islam. Are you talking Hinduism? Are we talking just certain branch of Hinduism?
Are we talking like African,
like tribal religions? Like there's all
African
sorts of different things
yeah.
that like but like agnostic is an option. I assume.
Well, I always saw that and I was like, what does that
mean?
Yeah.
But no, it's like I define as like agnostic Taoist most of the time for people, and they're like, well, what's that mean? I was like, well. I don't have a specific faith. I don't, have a God that I worship. I don't have a book I read out of. I don't go to a church or a temple or a monastery or any sort of religious building. Mm-hmm. But what I do is I look at Taoism, which has the religious side of it is like super magical in some sense, like cracking turtle bones to read your future over a fire.
Wait, that's not normal.
Well, it's not in every religion. I'll say that. But, so I don't necessarily, I'm not going to, grab a fire pit and, crack some turtle bones or anything. But what I will do is I look at the philosophical side of that religion, where, the ideas that they've expressed. the idea of like feng shui, like how you decorate your house matters, and like changing it up every now and again because there's an energy to the room, and like there's a like we use the term vibe all the time. High school kids use, oh, I don't get a good vibe from this. Like,
dude, they use it. Oh my god,
yeah,
it's so obnoxious.
It's obnoxious at times, but it's like it is true at times. You know, like I decorated my room that we're in right now very much to be pretty streamlined for the space that I have. I used as much of the space that I could because it's not the biggest room, and I used it in a pretty
very
way,
efficient
way, and like you know, I use that like the idea of like, you know, pressure points and like ways to help yourself relax, like. I'll use breathing techniques. I'll like, you know, pinch the space between your thumb and your forefinger to help get rid of a headache.
That's actually real.
It works. It helps
does.
so much. Pop and leave. Pinch that space on your hand, and I can get rid of. Pop and leave, like an Aleve, a pain pill.
Oh,
it's literally sitting right there.
Oh my god! I thought you were like saying
pop and leave
a leaf, and I was like, what?
Okay, taking a pill of Aleve.
Yeah, well now I get
and
it.
Then pinch your hand, and the headache's gone because they work together. Maybe it's a little placebo, but I feel great afterwards, you know? But no, so I also pull the idea of, like, in Taoism, it's like, be the best you can be, and everything's going to be alright. Like, the idea of just, like, focus on yourself, do what you can do, and everything will turn out fine. Like, it's very much kind of like hands-off, free-flow religion. There's a flow to, like, life in the world. Go with the flow. Exactly. So I use a lot of the ideas in Taoism to try to, like, help myself relax because, you know, we're in some rough classes, to put it lightly. We got a workload for us. You know, I try to de-stress as much as I can, but if you kind of go with the flow and just roll with it and accept things as they come and just try your best to, like, stay a little calm and roll with it, you'll be fine. So I use a lot of knowledge from that religion specifically in my personal life, but I'm not a Taoist because I don't.
You're not, like, that's just not...
There's no, necessarily, there's not even a God in that religion anyway, but I don't really practice a lot of it regularly.
Turtle bones in a fire.
Exactly. You know, I'm not doing all the things that would be with it. So, I mean, you could call me a Taoist if you wanted, but I still don't know if that's what I'd end up wanting. Like, I look at religion, and I see it as an open door and opportunity. If I can find that faith and, like, you know, guidance at some point in my life, cool.
Yeah, I think, like, kind of on top of that, like, a lot of people, especially our age, they identify as kind of, like, agnostic or atheist, right?
Especially nowadays.
Yeah, especially nowadays. And there's obviously nothing wrong with that. I just think that, like, a lot of people, they don't know, right? And kind of, like, it's a part of that time in your life where it's just, like, you know...
Everything's so confusing.
Yeah, everything's so confusing. You know, I have to figure out what job I want to do.
I figure out what my college degree is going to be. I have to figure out all sorts of different things. And on top of that, I need to figure out what, like, my level of spiritual guidance is going to be in the universe. Like, my body's changing too, oh no. Like, so, like, everyone freaks out and everyone struggles with it all, but religion can do a lot of good things for a lot of people.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I think that's where we cut
this
one.
That's it.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, guys. See you on the next episode.
Alrighty, bye.
Bye.